Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Apex Online Racing. My name is Ike Sky, and you join me tonight with a very special championship that I have been looking for since I got wind of it earlier in the month. This is the Apex Online Racing Renault Clio Cup. For those of you who aren't familiar with the absolutely flawless Renault Clio as a racing car, it is one of the most popular cars to ever grace the racing circles. But its efficiency as far as cost for, like, its value for money as far as cost is concerned, it is unbeatable as far as fun per square foot per mile. It is more or less unbeatable, and for repair costs, there is nothing better. There is no cheaper way to go racing and get covered on mainstream TV. We often get shunned, these lower class cars do, among online racers because they're not as fast, they're not as special and that sort of thing. But they are absolutely some of the best pound for fun that you can have, as we are getting AS Turbo already showing off just how fun they can be, getting oversteer on the run up past where the rallycross circuit is actually on the Catalunya circuit. Now down into the last chicane, cutting as much as he dares in the 20 car, round the last corner, and now if we were to get the speedo and timings up, we'll see as he comes across the line now, that is 115 miles per hour across the start finish line, and that is someone who's going to be getting a pit lane infraction as well across the line. Oh, maybe they won't be. Maybe they won't be, because maybe it doesn't count because it's on the national circuit. A sea of Clios stream across the line now, starting their hot laps. Hopefully they've got their tyres up to temperature, but there's absolutely no way that we're going to be able to know. A 15-minute qualifying session for these drivers, and there's 30 of them. Well, there was 30 of them. There seems to be 28 of them. Let me get the timings up. There is 29 drivers. We have managed to exceed the height limit of the driver ticker. Oh, no. Whoa, someone's gone very wide. TPW has shortcutted across the last chicane. And Jorgak, yes, will have done similar, just outbraked himself into the last corners, the last chicane. Shout out from Nicholas Willoughby in chat. Royalty, your whole crew is watching you. Good luck. Don't do what they do on do what they say on RuPaul. Time's just starting to come in. A 1 minute 20 to start us off from AS Turbo across the line. Smolder 4/10 behind. Then Cooley. Alan has dropped into second place, 3/10 off the pace of AS Turbo. Again, these times are going to drop. The front tyres may well be warm, but the rears are definitely not. They will not be getting the traction that they want from these tyres. Just making sure there's nothing going on in Discord. Everyone seems happy as Larry that they are running around the shortened Catalunya circuit. I don't think these poor Clios would take the full circuit with the long right-handers and left-handers of the first sector. Mr. Van Oman has gone fastest with a 1:19.963, the first into the 19s, and a 7/10 gap has opened up between cars 1 and 2. That is a absolutely dominant display of his 59 Clio. There we go. So, coming up now through Campsa. Massive amount of oversteer. Just trying to get heat back in those tyres. He did pit at the end of his fast lap, so his tyres obviously not good for more than a couple of laps at the pace that Oman is running at. Enormous oversteer. Now this is going to be happening all the way through the race as well. As the tyres degrade, they do lose their grip very, very quickly, especially around this track. If we jump on board with Oman for a second, around this corner here, where the front wheels are trying to do all of the work, accelerate and turn, that front left tyre is going to overheat so badly. Again, as we come down this start-finish straight, let's jump on. We'll stick with him for the time being. We'll show you where the key spots that we're going to start seeing the problems for the cars here. So first, as we see a lockup for whoever that is in front, in the yellow Clio. Under braking into the corner, they're going to be heating up that front left tyre again. Front right will take a beating through the chicane at Verth, and then it's all pressure on the left hand tyre. So up here they're putting weight on the left tyre. Through here, Oman actually triggering the car into a slide to try and take the weight off of that front left tyre, because there's no way that it's not going to overheat. It's a lock setup competition. So what they have is what they get. Oman's doing a fantastic job just keeping that Clio in check. Someone's abandoning off to the inside. That was Cooley that threw it off the track. Oman is now going to get a draft from the Clio. This may be even faster than his previous pole lap. 19.963 to beat. Shadowing Cooley in front. A 19.401 for Oman. As we look down the rest of the field, as far as I know, you can play with the controller, yes. So as we see, Oman has retired to the pits to get some new tyres on. McCoy is going to be facing a track penalty. Looks like he was either caught speeding in the pit lane. I would say that was speeding in the pit lane. Car on the inside. Who's that car on the inside? I may have dropped it back into the pit. Smolder's running a very nice livery. Or was it... yeah, Clifton. There we go. Tony Clifton. That's a lovely livery there. Very nice. And bright red wheels as well. That's not going to do anyone any harm. Is that Cooley in front of... no, it's not. It's Cooley's teammate, though. Okay, believe it or not, that's 15 minutes of the session, and we're approaching 14 minutes having gone. How are we looking at the moment as far as timings are concerned? So at the head of the field, we have Oman, who is setting a lightning fast pace, but as we can see, he's only able to maintain that for a lap. So he's gonna have to wind that pace back significantly in the race if he's gonna have any hope of making progress. As Turbo is currently in second with a 1:20.529. Yorkie 65, one of our beloved commentators, is sitting third at the moment, a further 1/10 of a second behind. Not even that. with a 1:26.05. And Alan is 1:26.28. Jorgurk is an interesting name with a 1:27.8. Gerard Javal is 1:28.59 in 6th place. Andrex UK is in 7th. Ultra competitive as always, 1:29.17. Clifton, in that fantastic livery, is at 1:21.016. Smolder in 9th place is 1:21.061, so less than 500ths of a second separating those two drivers. Matt Cooley in 10th place at the moment with 1:21.076, just gone round in 1:29.039. The pace slowing off significantly. It looks like the driver's not able to maintain that blistering fast pace with these very much tyre limited cars. Mad Hayes is currently 11th with a 1:21.141. Nuno Aparicio, I've probably got that entirely wrong, we'll call him Nuno for the time being, has just been displaced by Tiago Pereira with a 1:21.2 flat. Nuno is a 1:21.321. Very nice series of numbers there. Cole McCoy is in 14th, 1:21.406. 2 seconds separating from 1st to 14th on the grid in this fixed setup race. Jack Game in 15th with a 1:21.444. WMDR Martin is 16th with a 1:21.523. Neela is 21.722. Ticklish Picklewickle is 1:21.899. Mr. Zach is a 22.012. Royalty is 20th with a 22.027. Mr. Ferret is 21st with a 1:22.079. We're only 2/3 of the way down the grid as well. Tom Kell is 22nd, 23rd is DH Gamer, 24th Fatworm, Crab, Tony Tacos, Soldier Sicko. In 27th, 28th is Frubo. King Kodiak has just rocketed up to 11th position with a 1:21.128. Solskjaer, Sicko, Frubo, and Psycho are bringing up the rear at the moment without a lap time set. And that has just changed as well. Psycho has just gone to 27th as he goes across the line and retires to the inside. Trying to get some, yeah, that's it. Oh. DH Gamer struggling there. It's not going to be what he wants to be seeing. With 2 minutes remaining, how are we looking? Andrex UK has bombed all the way up the field to 3rd place, only 9/10 of a second off of the pole lap set at the moment, set by Oman. With Asturbo still holding stalwart in 2nd place. Who's that running around with their headlights on? There's 2 cars running around with their headlights on. Where's the track map? There we go. No. This is where it gets awkward occasionally. Those 2. Royalty has given up. Neela is still running around in 19th. About to cross the line, see if he can go any quicker. And our survey says nil point. DH Gamer Jorgurk is running wide in 7th position. Yep, that'll be through the last chicane, which has a stupid name, so we're not going to call it that. We're just going to call it the last chicane. And a gaggle of cars now. There's a yellow Clio coming up the inside. Who's that? It's Soldier Sicko has the Nick Hamilton car and makes contact Parking it on the outside of turn 1 with whoever that was. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. The 88 car. There we go. That will be Martin. I wonder if they're going to be getting lap times invalidated for running wide through Campsor up there. It's going to be interesting. Oh, no. Oh, there is a penalty for Andrex UK. Let me just on there for a second. That is a 1 grid place penalty. I don't know why that would be occurring, but qualifying is over. We're just now waiting for the drivers to come across the line before we can get a overall standings for you. There is an abandoned lap going back into the pits. And it looks like we are getting towards done now. Okay, so I can at least start doing the starting positions for the race, which we are not going to have a normal AOR warm-up lap. We're just going to go straight into the race. So it's going to be a very fast and frantic start. So, Mr. Van Ommen is going to start the race in pole position. We're going to see how that blistering fast qualifying pace translates to a race pace, as Turbo will start in second position, Frubo third, Andrex UK fourth, fifth potentially behind Yorkio 65, Alan sixth, Jorgok seventh, and now I'm going to have to wait for the window to come up again. There we go. Jorgok, Mad Hayes in 8th, Gerard Javal in 9th, Clifton 10th, Cooley 11th, Smolder 12th, 13th Pereira, 14th Kodiak Aparicio, in 15th McCoy, in 16th Jack Game 17th, Martin 18th, Neela in 19th, Royalty in 20th, 21st will be Ticklish Picklewickle, Tom Cullen 22nd, Mr. Zach 23rd, Mr. Barrett 24th, 25th will be Fat One, PH Gamer in 26th, Tony Tacos in 27th, 28th will be Crab, Psycho will be starting 29th, and 30th will be Soldier Sicko. Now we have a slight respite, and I do mean slight. These drivers are going to be right into the thick of it in about a minute's time. I'm going to take advantage of that time and give my voice a breather. Just take in the atmosphere of Circuit de Catalunya. And with the roar of the engines and the switching on of the lights, that spells disaster. I mean, the start of the race, 3 blips, and we are go for the Apex Online Racing Clio Cup from Circuit de Catalunya. We get a lovely wide shot. Thank you very much to the race director giving us a decent camera angle. As they come hurtling down towards turn 1, they are 5 abreast. Coming into turn 1, we keep our eyes for the moment on the third place car, but they have all gotten through cleanly. Everybody absolutely behaving themselves impeccably. Oh, I say that as Tony Tacos and Soldier Sicko have a conflict, and it looks like there's been massive contact through the second part of Worth, with Martin suffering massive damage. And who else is there that is suffering? Ticklewish Picklewickle seems to have gotten through unscathed. Tony Taco's had that coming together with Soldier Sicko, so is going to be suffering damage. Psycho seems to be okay. Martin's the one with damage there. Alan seems to be clear. Royal Tea Crab. Fatworm, they all seem to have... Fatworm seems to have a bit of damage, so maybe that was where the impact started, but that was a definite rollover for whoever it was that lost there from Bonpales. Martin, wasn't it? Yeah. So WMDR Martin is driving with a severely crippled car now. And it's going to be very difficult for him to make any progress through the lap. There is a King Kodiak in the pits, it would seem. Oh, no. That's fine, that was just left over from qualifying. But there is no right place to look here, as King Kodiak is being put under pressure now by Pereira. That's, again, probably the worst pronunciation you've ever heard, but until I get corrected. Oh no, King Kodiak is going to jump up the inside of Jack Game and lean on him up the inside. You can get away with that with these front wheel drive cars, but Jack has to give best to King Kodiak at the moment. But there's plenty of opportunities left in this race. This is only a 20-minute race, and our leader is starting lap 3 now. Those 2 laps passed without a blink. I completely missed. I feel like I missed the second lap. But Fribo is keeping Oman honest. That's going to be a problem. Gap of only 8 tenths. Using the tools at their disposal. And fantastic to see Tony Clifton making significant progress up the field as well. As Turbo starting from second, getting a lot of oversteer from his Clio. Perhaps the tyres are getting a little bit cold on the back there now. It'll do wonders for tyre life, but it does terrible things for absolutely everything else. And there does seem to be the slightest bit of a train forming behind Asturbo here. Now is Yorkie trying to put pressure on the 4th place driver. Nerves of steel at the moment. We'll see how long that lasts though. And this is where the train really begins. You just saw the beginning of that, the last part of that shot. Who's that blocking down the inside? Someone's about to lose a place. That is the 16 car making his way past the 177. Yeah, that is Mad Hayes losing a position. It looks like, yep, to the 16th of Gerval. And having a look up the inside as well is the number 19 of Smolder, trying to capitalise on Mad Hayes being out of position. Remember, they do actually need to stop for these corners. And up the inside goes Jack Game on. King is further up the road. So Jack Game is past Pereira, with Cooley looking to make some progress up as well. King Kodiak, I did notice, is all over the back of Smolder now. Smolder looks like being held up by Mad Hayes in 8th place. And Kodiak wanting to make his way past both of these Clio Cup cars. That is a penalty. Just coming in by the looks of it. 1 second penalty and a 1 second penalty for Kodiak as well. So Frubo and Kodiak at the moment have 1 second penalties, and Kodiak looking up the inside, narrowing his entry. Smolder gives him room because he knows the corner's going to come back to him. But Kodiak is now ever closer, going to the outside, coming up towards Kamsa. There's many ways this can end. We could really do with a high camera now. As not quite making it there. Kodiak trying to shorten the line between corners. Any advantage, and Smolder's locked up. That's going to lose him speed at the apex and on exit. But through this final sector, through Sabadell and Europe car, pretty easy to defend positions. He only really needs to worry when he starts to get back out onto the start-finish straight, saying that Kodiak is looking for the weakness in Smolder's defense. It's going to be coming at that first corner. Look further up, slightly further up the field. Asturbo is putting pressure on Clifton. Having a bit of space back from Yorkie now, allowing him to focus on his lines. It's only a matter of time, it looks like, really, doesn't it? Slightly further back. We're looking at Mad Haze, still under pressure from Smolder. King Kodiak, it seems like, has dropped back slightly. Whether through pace difference or just trying to get some heat back out of those tyres and brakes from sitting behind Smolder. But a small mistake from Smolder has pushed them right back together again. This is a mirror image of where Kodiak was a couple of laps ago. And that locking up inside tyre is not healthy for whoever's doing that. I think that might be Mad Haze, actually. 39, going as tight as he dares. The attempt is made up the inside through the final corner. Side by side onto the start-finish straight. Smolder is side by side. They really are. They're swapping places across the line. Across the line, Smolder was still in front. He will have a slight speed advantage due to having the wider line, but the Clio of Kodiak is got the claim to the inside of the corner and takes the place for the time being. But now the advantage is to Smolder. All he has to worry about is attacking. Doesn't have to mind defending anymore. We will have a revisit of that in a moment. We just need to see what's going on around the rest of the field, as Asturbo is still on the bumper of Tony Clifton here. And another lockup. Clifton not as confident under braking as Asturbo is, and it's starting to show. He's got the road positioning down so that he can block, but there's just not quite enough pace in that, whatever number it is, Clio. I have not seen the number of that yet. That's four cars in this train. And as Clifton makes a nudge to the outside, Asturbo goes super sideways trying to make the braking, manages to make it stick. Clifton goes wide trying to brake as late as he dares. Up through Verth now, and they're still side by side. They bang doors, unfortunately. And we get a beautiful bit of clipping there from that would be Jorgak. Clifton comes out on top yet again. Yorkie has been pushed back a place. And that is that it just had. So Tony Tacos and Tom Kell look as though they've had a coming together. All the cars taking avoiding action. That's Very unfortunate. Oh no, 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 no. Come on, guys. There's no need for that. That's going to be massive damage for both of them, regardless of what happened. We've got to jump back to this fight for what is third place. Back in the same position, Clifton has the slightest of edges over Jogak in fourth. But Jogak does not have any kind of comfort from Yorkie, who is going to be gunning for that fourth position, having lost it, trying to gain third. Where are you supposed to look in this championship? Dear God. This is a slightly less intense fight, which we'll focus on just to settle ourselves down a little bit. So Mad Hayes is sitting in between King Kodiak and Gerard Gaval. And it looks as though he's just getting the pace out of that Clio over Kodiak. Not by much. Not by much. But there is a slight gap forming. Meanwhile, Kodiak and Smolder still hammer and tong at each other. Further down the grid, we have Jack Game putting pressure on Colonel McCoy. Two brilliant liveries there. Strikingly making the most of the Clio's curves. And all the way down in 18th, 19th and 20th, we have the heavily damaged Martin, Mr. Ferret and Alan all running within 1.5 seconds of each other. The slightest of mistakes, and that's going to be it for any of these drivers. Well, it already has been it for Martin, who is running around without a spoiler. It's not going to be the end of the world in these front-wheel drive cars, but he's going to be feeling the geometry damage as we see Tony Tacos and Tom Cole both in the pits with that damage from that impact. As who was that? No, no, no. Come on. Who is that in the Hamilton Clio? I believe these guys are a lap down, perhaps. No, no, no. Oh, I've run out. I think I've run out of space on the figure. Or have we only got 28 cars now? Yeah, we've only got 28 cars now. That's fine. So, who are we looking at? Who is in that Clio of... There we go, so Mr. Zach. Mr. Zach's jumping out of the way of cars behind him, it looks like. That's odd. It's very strange. There must be a reason for that. We've got to jump back up. Oh, we jump back up right at the right time. As Clifton goes wide, Kodiak's going to use the opportunity of the slower... Clifton to nose up the inside of Jorguk. Is going to get balked by Jorguk not seeing him turn in, and is going to get put under pressure from Asturbo behind. These four cars still absolutely glued together. Asturbo going tight, Clifton going even tighter, going properly defensive here. The 192 goes right round the outside, going for the rallycross line into the hairpin. And Asturbo now up the inside of Yorkie. Door to door they bang. No harm, no foul. This is what these cars are built for. And is it going to be under braking? No, it is not. The 192 goes sideways under braking into the last chicane, trying to get some edge over the 12 of Clifton, but Clifton is doing an absolute demon job here defending his place. Not doing anything illegal or aggressive, just defending his line, putting his car in a position where it can't get past, but I'm afraid this may not be enough. The 192 goes ultra wide, pushes the 10 car offline off of the first corner, but manages to remain composed as Clifton. The amount of pressure that he's being put under right now is just immense. And you can't blame Jogak either for that. It was a defensive move made by Clifton, and that was always going to be a risk. But in the background, Kodiak has lost a place to Asturbo. 20 car showing pace. A 20 driver showing pace. As they come into the final sector, I barely know what to say. I barely know what to say. Again, Jogak punts the 10 car at the back. This may be getting on towards a warning now. There's no way that should be letting that happen twice. Clifton again goes defensive, right to the inside. The other 3 cars follow suit, and our camera goes completely mental as they're on the wrong side of the track. Smolder goes right to the outside. The 192 is middle of the road. Clifton is going to brake early to make sure he gets the line. King Kodiak is going to follow him through on the inside. Not Smolder. Asturbo is going to get past both of them through the first corner, weave back onto the track, and push Clifton into Jogak. Now up through Kamsa again. And they are 2 wide through Kamsa. That's not advisable at the best of times. Clifton has let 1 car through, and it seems as though the floodgates are about to open as he gets under braking. He's still got the position. Still 4th for Clifton, but how long for? Oh, it's a shame. Kodiak was in front of Jogak for a second there. That would have been a really good position. Had he not gone for the space. 192 cutting corners, trying to get just a mile per hour or 2 advantage on the number 10 car. Yorkie doing exactly what he needs to do, hitting the racing line, getting as much traction as he possibly can. And they go 3 wide once again. Meanwhile, Asturbo has got the pace and the space. Jogak's going to ram into Yorkie on the outside, but that's not going to help him because he's outbraked himself, and Yorkie goes straight through. Yorkie hitting his marks. He's going to make a place up. We just need to refocus there on the 58. Middle car in this battle. And all of this is allowing Gerard Gaval to catch up as well, and Mad Hayes behind. Both coming up on the tail of this battle now. Yorkie getting a bit of a lock-up into Lacaixa. C-A-I-X-A. Good luck. The tyres not quite being able to hold up. And with only a minute remaining, as predicted, this has been absolutely insane from start to finish. As the 52, I kind of wish that I had a car number. Not Jag Game, I know. Ah, there we go. That was McCoy. Yep, McCoy jumping out of the way of the drivers lapping him. Asturbo remains in the position. Yorkie remains behind Clifton. Respectful driving from these two, at least. And it looks as though... don't think there's enough of a gap. This looks like it might possibly be the last lap of the race. It's going to be cutting it fine. I don't think it's going to be cutting it fine. Depends where they've put the start-finish line on this. Your first round of 4. An impeccable run from flag to flag. Mr. Van Omen is going to come around the last corner now to win the first race in the Apex Online Racing Renault Clio Cup for Project Cars 2. And that is a Schlott. That's your lot. Second place will come home Frubo, and Asturbo will hold on and pull away by a second. Yorkie finally getting past Clifton in the closing laps in the closing corners of the race. Absolutely fantastic race all around. Clifton will come home in a thoroughly, thoroughly respectable fourth. Very, very well played. Fifth place? Yeah, fifth place, sorry. Yorkie in fourth. Clifton fifth. Gerard in sixth. Jogak will come home seventh. Mad Hayes in eighth. Ninth place will be Smolder. King Kodiak will come home in 10th. Matt Cooley in 11th. 12th will be Tiago Pereira. 13th, McCoy. What is going on here? Jack Game 15th. Aparacio in 15th. Alan 16th. Neela will come home 17th. Ferret in 18th. Royalty 19th. Martin in 20th. A fantastic recovery drive there from a massive, massive incident at the start of the race. Tickerish Pickerwickle. There we go. Right, let's get the full list up. So, Omen will take the victory. Frubo in second, Asturbo third, Yorkie in fourth, fifth will be Clifton, Gerard Gaval sixth, seventh will be Jogak, eighth will be Mad Hayes, ninth will be Smolder, 10th Kodiak, 11th Cooley, Pereira in 11th, 11th McCoy, 14th Jack Game, 15th, we're only halfway through the grid, Aparicio, 16th Alan, 17th Neelas, 18th will be Mr. Ferret, Mr. Royal T in 19th, Martin in 20th, as I say, a great recovery drive there. Ticklish Picklewickle in 21st, 22nd will be Mr. Zach, DH Gamer in 23rd, 24th will be Fatworm Crab 25th, Psycho 26th, Tom Kill 29 in 27th, and Tony Tacos bringing his car home in 28th place. I think we can agree that was insane. And a fantastic, brilliant to see you the first into the box there, Martin. What on earth happened in that first corner?
I have got no idea, man. All I know is I got flipped over and half of my car was gone.
Do you see there was an instant at actually the first corner, a couple of cars went off on the inside, and then as I went to go further up the grid, I just saw you rolling. I was like, "Whoa, okay. Any idea who was involved or what caused the problems or anything like that?"
I've got no idea who was involved or who flipped me over, but apparently someone did an unsafe rejoin of the track, which then caused a massive chain reaction.
Ah, right. That makes sense. No, that makes sense. But as I literally just said in the coverage as I was going over the finishes, you got all the way back up to 20th, which from that start and with that damage, major kudos there.
Yeah, thanks. I'd like to call it weight reduction, but wasn't that quick.
I mean, you probably lost some drag from that pointless rear wing.
Oh yeah, it's true.
So it's not the end of the world.
I'd,
Sorry,
yeah, go ahead. Well, towards the end of the race, I had a battle with Ticklish Picklewickle, and I think on like the penultimate lap, he managed to get alongside me because I had no top speed in that thing.
Yeah, that does sound about right. With that amount of damage, how did you have engine damage as well then?
I'm glad I didn't have any engine damage. Actually, I had a tiny bit of suspension damage and some on the
So it was all of that damage was entirely cosmetic.
pretty much, except for the front damage did affect my top speed.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. But to have so little damage from such a flamboyant incident, should we say?
Yeah.
Is absolutely astounding. It's really fortunate. That's really fortunate that was.
Yeah, I suppose.
So is there I see people saying about having another race. Is there another race now? I don't know if we can get to the website for me to check.
There will be another race, yeah, and this time it's going to be with a rolling start.
Ah, right. Okay. So it's sprint and endurance. Oh, yeah, excellent. Oh, cool. So this is proper old school touring car format. Excellent.
Pretty much.
Excellent. Oh, I'm happy now. Cool. So that is not the end of the action tonight. There is is that right? A 40-minute race.
From the lobby settings, that's what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah. No, That's what I was going off as well. The website's still down, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think we've lost Andrix actually. He had a couple of incidents and then quit.
Oh, that's a shame. He did finish the race.
He did?
Hmm. Yeah,
I guess he maybe just left Discord then.
that's entirely possible. May have had problems. When did they say that he left? I may have left. I think he may have left right at the end of the race then, because I'm pretty sure I did count him across the line. Anyway, so what you're saying is we're looking for a better start next race.
I'm just trying not to roll next race.
Yeah. That's a really good start. We'll go with that one, and then any more that you can get, we'll take that as well.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with a top 20 finish, I suppose. I only qualified like 18th.
Yeah, absolutely. No. It's as I say, with having that incident at first, it kind of characterized your race. It was always going to be a damage reduction kind of job. So you did
Yeah.
super well. You really should be proud of that, being able to reclaim all those places. And
Yeah, thanks, mate.
just hopefully take that momentum into the next race. I'll let you get back so you can prep for the next one. I'm trying to keep an eye on chat, so if there is anything that they need to that needs to be said, make sure it gets to the podcast 2 chat, please.
I've got you. Enjoy the
Brilliant.
next race.
Yep, brilliant. See you in a bit. Okay, so yes. So as I was saying, that is not the end of the action tonight. We have had, for want of a better expression, a 20-minute sprint race. And coming up, we will have a 40-minute extended race for these Clios. Stay tuned. You are not missing a thing. Believe me, I will be throwing the stream back into video as soon as there is something interesting for watch. And we are back. Back in Spain at Circuit de Catalunya. For no qualifying this time. This is a format that many of the drivers and many of you watching will remember from various championships in the past. The first qualifying session will have set the race for the first, the starting position for the first race. What will happen? Oh, good grief! Van Ommen in that qualifying session broke the world record for the Clios in the Circuit de Catalunya. So, a testament to the absolute pace of Van Ommen in that qualifying and race. That was an astounding display of pace. That's incredible. That really is. But as we get things warmed up, I'm using Spotify to get the Project Cars 2 soundtrack going. Which is great because it means that I can control the volume individually. As we warm up, there shouldn't be too much setup being going on with this race. But what's going to happen now is they're sat at their grid positions. They will split when the lights go green. And they will be put into a finishing order from the previous race. Whether that's reversed or not, I don't know. And unfortunately, I can't check because it appears AOR is down at the moment, unfortunately. Oh, okay, so it's not the actual world record, it's his own world record. That's absolutely fine. So here we go. You will hear absolutely no revving from these cars. And the split will occur momentarily. And now let us wait to see where the order comes. So Alan will lead away. And if he's running not race director, if he's running crew chief is going to be going mad at him. But if we were to, there we go. As we have our drivers slowly begin to assemble their correct order. I'll take this very brief moment to remind you that all of this is done for your enjoyment. So if you are enjoying this Clio Cup, if you're enjoying AOR's coverage of this sim racing league, absolutely make sure that you hit that like button. And if you want to get recommendations and get notified of when other races are live, absolutely go and hit that subscribe button. As our grid formation finally gets to the first corner, maintaining a fantastically slow pace to make sure that we lose absolutely no time on warming or re-warming up the tyres. Mr. Farrett is going to now take his position on the grid, and that is the 20 car of As Turbo. Getting a proper wiggle on. His tyres must be stone cold after where are the rest of the cars? Okay, they're all there. Cool, that's fine. I didn't see anyone around. That was weird. Neela taking up what looks to be 17th position on the grid. And having a nice little lock up as there is a car park in front of him. Ticklish pickle-wickle. Ticklish pickle-wickle. There. He's going to come round in 21st. Now this will be an interesting order. I don't think this is reverse grid, and I don't think it's definitely not the finishing result from the previous race. All the cars now. There we go. So, once our cars have all caught up, and we won't have an accident on the warm-up lap, we will give Alan the all clear. And away they will go for a warm-up lap. This is going to be a rolling start. When we get round to the start-finish straight. Now again, this is going to be very interesting to see how these drivers cope with this warm-up lap, because the way that the Clios are is you want heat in the front and rear tyres, but the front tyres will warm up on a snap of the fingers, whereas the rear tyres take forever to warm up unless you adjust your brake bias. But I don't think with this fixed setup you can adjust the brake bias. You're very, very much limited in what you can do. So how these guys are going to manage the tyres on this first corner, I have no idea. I have no idea how they're going to cope with this. But we are mere seconds from finding out. I don't know what's going to happen. This grid is very topsy-turvy. Our previous race winner is currently in 16th position. Where the heck's my cursor gone? There we go. They come round the last corner. They are in a beautiful, beautiful formation with Alan on the inside. What we want in an ideal world is a camera angle that gets them head on, kind of like this. The cars are just starting to form up. One of the purple cars is jumping out of formation straight away, and we are green. Much quieter than what we're used to with the more beastly cars. Coming down to the first corner, Alan has got a significant gap over Apricio. All very, very, very well behaved coming through turn one. They have learnt from the mistakes of the last race. It looks like almost without incident, but not without major incident, we'll say. That was DH Gamer, it looks like. Yep, in the number 5 car, getting all sorts of squirrely out of the third corner. And just, is that, oh man. Damn it, who was that? I can't keep up with how fast he's dropping down. That was Frubo. Suffering a massive kick of oversteer. And having to try and get the car. And again, the 82 of Mr. Zach struggling with oversteer, cutting across the track. Again, tires have got to get back up to temperature, and there is no easy way of getting heat in those tires without killing off your tire life. It's another mind game. It's yet another mind game that these drivers are having to play. King Kodiak going up the inside, and in the background we see two cars which I can't get. There we go. So that was Clifton and not York. Oh, Mr. Zach looks like he's punting the back. There's just absolute carnage on the start-finish straight. I dread to... Oh, and whoever that was, it was that Fat Worm, very unwisely just letting himself coast across the track. A lot of damaged cars at the back here. We have a Mr. Zach in the 82, who I don't think was part of that original altercation. Tony Clifton, who definitely was. Ticklish Picklewickle is suffering damage as well, but I don't think he was involved. It looks like, yeah, Fat Worm, I believe, was the other car involved in that initial altercation on the start-finish straight. And I really wish that we had replays here so that I could show you that in slow motion, exactly where it became a problem. Fat Worm having ridiculous issues here with the back end of that car. There must be some serious geometry damage from the pit wall, shockingly. But the race goes on. King Kodiak pits for his damage. It looks like... Hang on, let's get the chase camera up. He does have front end damage, unfortunately, and Ticklish Picklewickle will pit as well, as will Tony Clifton. So these drivers obviously suffering with a little bit too much to be able to live with. Up at the head of the field, Alan is currently leading the way with a almost second gap back to Aparicio in second. Jag Game maintaining his place in the 11th car in third place. Then Matt Cooley having getting pushed, it looks like, by, I think that was, yep, Mad Hayes through the hairpin. Again, having to play the defensive game. That's what these cars are about. A lot of drag, a lot of defending. And Smolder having to defend now against Mad Hayes. With his teammate in the back of this train is Asturbo, who's going to duck in behind again, get some of that sweet draft, and try and make the move up the inside into turn one. None of these breaking the racing line yet. Oh, but who was that? That was the 177 of Mad Hayes taking a very tight line. That's going to affect his exit speed, but it doesn't matter for the time being. McCoy was not there for the exit. And Smolder just holding on to that Clio in the slightest of drifts. Mad Hayes is going to look up the inside again, get the tighter line, get his nose up alongside. Smolder's going to give him room as they are very well behaved. Van Omen setting records in qualifying, getting all the way back up to 7th place already from 16th on the grid. Wasting no time in getting those positions back. Next on his hit list will be Smolder. And we just need to see how this unfolds. Now they're starting to dip to the inside, trying to nip that drag off of the other cars. That is going to be Smolder past Mad Hayes up the inside, just getting slightly more drag. And behind them, there we go. Colonel McCoy running wide, handing Asturbo the place. I don't know if there was contact there or not, but McCoy has got a second penalty for his sins elsewhere on the track. Arman now with a very sideways Smolder sitting in front of him. Done a little bit too much on those tyres, it looks like. He's going to slide up the inside into the uphill hairpin of Lakasha. Lakaska, maybe. 5th place now for the 59 Clio. Hey, good number as well. And then he is going to hunt down Matt Cooley with his lights ablaze and leave the rest of these drivers now with the quite close attention of Frubo. There's a blue flag for Tony Clifton. Clifton with damage. No, Asturbo has moved up to PC. Are these? I think the race feed is lagging behind slightly, unfortunately. The two teammates together, Asturbo and Smolder. So they will play a little bit nicer around each other. Oh, Cooley getting an enormous kick of oversteer coming out of that chicane. And touching the barrier. Hopefully his Clio will have enough rigidity to stand up to a side-on impact like that, but he is suffering. These drivers are suffering now with these tyres. They've been driving it like a sprint race, and they're not going to last. The tyres are not going to last if you keep driving them like that. Yorkie looks like he's just been through the pits again. He has. Suffering with a bit more damage. Either that or just preventative. Two teammates now side by side. Jump onto the roof. And surely the position is going to be gifted here by Smolder. Not to leave the door open for the drivers behind. He gets away with it for the time being. But Cooley is struggling with that Clio. Coming up the hill. Two yellow Clios, not teammates. Mad Hayes is going to be putting pressure on Cooley because he doesn't have a choice. There is both Frubo and McCoy waiting in the wings if he dare miss an opportunity to make a pass. Mad Hayes has got a very interesting line into the tighter corners. He takes a very sharp entry. That's not going to help him out when it comes to lap times overall, and it's not going to help him when it comes to tyre life because you're just going to be putting more energy through the tyres that you don't need to. Cooley's got the slightest bit of breathing space now. 177 under serious pressure now there from Frubo. Will he make a dive to the inside? We'll switch to the Frubo camera. He's alongside, under braking. The switch is made. 177 goes wide. Will the 52 get through at the same time? Doesn't look like it. That wide line will work through the tighter hairpins around this track. Not having to turn the wheel as much means that you can keep more speed for the exit. As Asturbo now starts to pull a gap on his teammate, it's now Smolder's job to keep the rest of the drivers behind him. Good luck doing that. And parking your car sideways across the apex is absolutely a maneuver that you can do to keep the other drivers behind you. Yet again, we're in this 3rd to 10th position of the lower half of the top 10. These drivers are doing so well, really are. Omen, meanwhile, is all the way up to third and banging on the door of Jack Game in second position. How long is it going to be? How long can Jack Game withstand the machinations of that 59 Clio? It's there for the time being. Fantastic blocking yet again. Jack Game absolutely proving his ability to drive professionally. Pulling tight, forcing the 59 wide. He knows he's got two left-handers and that's going to keep him in that second position. Fantastic driving. Really, really, really good driving here from the fastest driver by a half a second in the qualifying tonight. I wonder how much his tyres are suffering for the honour though. Now down into turn 1. The 11 brakes late and goes wide. That is a gap for the 59 to fill, but the track comes back to the left, which will again give the 11 back. This is absolutely fantastic blocking from Jack Game in the 11, and again has the inside line where he needs it. The 59 cannot go through while that 11 car is in the position where it is. Misses the apex this time through the gravel, and that is going to be all she wrote, unfortunately, and loses the position as well to Asturbo, who has done a mammoth job to get onto the back of Omen. We have a look further back down the grid. Aparicio has made it past as well, and Frubo, now going up the inside of Aparicio, is going to take 4th place, so that one mistake by Jack Game has dropped himself 4 places and completely ruffled up the centre area of this top 10. Still side by side are Frubo and Aparicio. Through the chicane, but that's going to be as much pace as you can get. Meanwhile, if 2nd place, Smolder is in Omen's wheel tracks. Unbelievable driving from these two, and I've got to watch this for a second. But I do have my eyes on that 2nd place battle as well. We have Aparicio and Frubo in 4th and 5th. 6th place is Jack Game, struggling with those tyres and the pressure that's been applied to him by Omen and some of the other drivers. Behind him, Smolder in the blue, green and white, and then that will be McCoy. And the 19 of Smolder will lose out to McCoy in this position. Again, all started from Jack Game not being able to get into the apex on that fast left-right chicane. Absolutely nothing he could have done. There was so much pressure there. He did well to last that long, to be fair. But that has dropped him back and dropped all of this mess together. Asturbo still within reach. 4/10 of a second roughly behind Van Omen. And both of them are going to be closing in now on Alan in first. You can see the gap is 2.6 seconds, and that's what 2.6 seconds like. You hear the cars coming past. So the hunt is now on for our 2nd and 3rd place drivers. Meanwhile, further back down the grid, Jack Game is going for a pass on McCoy, but couldn't make it stick through that uphill section. Really unfortunate. Meanwhile, Mad Hayes has gotten past Smolder as well. Smolder really suffering with his tyres, it seems. And the last of the immediate train is Matt Cooley. Another contributing factor to how messy this lower middle section of the top 10 has been. Matt Hayes is driving a little bit erratically now. That is going to give Smolder the opportunity to get the place back in the draft. The gap between first and second, by the way, 1.7 seconds. And side by side now, Smolder and Mad Hayes. Smolder takes the place down the inside, and the 145 behind of Matt Cooley is going to be tempted by that proposition of the open apex, but nowhere near close enough to be able to make the move. Up and over the hill again, where some drivers have been having problems through the high-speed chicane. None of the drivers confident enough in their braking and turning ability to stick to the outside like we would see from the GT3 cars. Meanwhile, McCoy and Aparicio bumper to bumper again, with Jack Game looking forlornly at the chasm of 0.6 seconds between himself and this battle. Boy is looking to the outside. Aparicio is going to push him wide, and a massive amount of sideways momentum for both of them. The 52 takes the place from the 24. I don't think that's going to have any kind of steward's intervention. Jack Game making the position back past Aparicio as well. Just on the exit of turn 1 through turn 2, there is a penalty incoming for Jack Game for 2 seconds, McCoy for a second, and Frubo for a second. With this race being so close, that could be the difference. Well, in all seriousness, Aparicio could find himself in 4th position with how close these guys are. Oman has managed to drop As Turbo finally, and has sat after Alan in the first place car. And Alan is going defensive super early. A twitch left and right, that won't be a problem at the moment, but if he's going to go left and right in the braking zone, that is a little bit dodgy. Alan pushing the boundaries of how many times you can switch back in his defense of first place, trying to be unpredictable. But that's the kind of driving that causes accidents, and he has been largely unchallenged in this race so far. So now we're going to see what Alan's made of, with Oman steaming up behind him. A little bit sideways out of the chicane. Alan goes very defensive into the hairpin. We've seen some fantastic driving elsewhere around the field tonight. Around this section, some brilliant blocking, a lockup from the number 4 car. Still going so defensive. He's going to hand the 59 car the lead just by going so defensive where he doesn't need to. Out onto the start-finish straight, and now remember that there is still an As Turbo 1.4 seconds behind this battle. And it's not going to take very long before Alan going defensive, Oman having to take evasive action, is going to affect the pace of both of these cars. Unless Alan goes wide. No, manages to keep it neat and tidy. But that is a 10th gone from the gap. Provided As Turbo can hit his marks and get the racing line right. He won't be long. It won't be long. Alan going super, super, super defensive again. This time it makes sense because Oman is right on his bumper and side by side now going up the hill. He has first place according to the timer screen, and that is going to be the pass for first made. Some fantastic fighting once again from these AOR boys. And into the final chicane for the first time this race, with 11 minutes remaining. The 59 will come across the line in the lead. Car gave a valiant defense, but there was just no answer for the absolute pace of that 59 Clio. All is not over yet either, because Alan will have an opportunity to attack back to Oman, and he looks like he's trying for it. And all the time he's pushing Oman, putting pressure on him. Asturbo will be able to close in slowly. Looking back down towards the lower half of the top 10 again, and the entire top 10 is just here. There you go. That is the entire top. The from 5th to 10th is just there. There you go. I told you we're returning to the bottom half of the top 10. They're all here. 52 putting up a valiant defense still from Jack Game. But how much that actually matters if Jack Game is looking, and McCoy and Jack Game both have 2-second penalties at the moment. So again, we're looking at a position where Aparicio may gain back all 3 positions simply because he's able to keep it on the track and between the white lines. A little bit of weaving going on just to try and break the toe and see how close each other are. I think that was English. Coming up the hill again. This must be absolute agony for these drivers with the such small horsepower that these Clios offer. Just trying to maintain as high a speed as they can possibly get away with. That's where most of the mistakes have come from tonight. Is drivers desperately trying to maintain a high speed and just taking it way too far. I'm not sure, you know, how much these drivers are in their pace order. A brilliant display there from Jack Game, by the way. Doing a beautiful job of getting up on 2 wheels. And for all its flaws, Project Cars 2 handling it as well. So we got the show. All seems line astern at the moment. Make no mistake, these drivers are going to be pushing as hard as they dare to try and get every 10th out of these cars to try and push up the grid. That game we're getting very sideways, but Aparicio getting even more sideways, and Smolder taking the place back under braking, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Aparicio looks like he might even, not quite, but nearly lost a place there to Mad Hayes, getting very sideways again coming up the hill. I don't know if this is intentional because he knows he's on TV or not, but he's got our attention. Smolder in front, hitting his marks, trying to get that gap back. Vaporisho not intent to just leave it be. Is going to try and outbrake Smolder into turn 1. Again, using that outside line grip, which these Clios give. Side by side again, up the hill now for Smolder. Smolder's just behind and up. That's going to be the position taken back by Vaporisho. But now the gap in front is going to be up to 1 second. Jack Game is going to feel, for the first time in a while, a breath of fresh air on the back of his neck. And up the hill again, Smolder, super strong under braking, it seems. Just able to stop it that much later, going around the outside again, into the chicane. This is going to end in tears. Whoa. It looks like Mad Hayes just having enough, deciding he was going to push past, but again, Smolder having none of it. Now onto the start-finish straight. A couple of hairbreadths maybe separating the two cars. Smolder goes to the outside. Vaporisho goes to the inside. That is going to hand the advantage to Smolder, perhaps. Around the outside they go. Smolder trying to pull the trick. Vaporisho pulled the previous lap and contact as Mad Hayes gets the victory. An absolute mess of cars. Again, this whole top 10. And a bit lower now. Mad Hayes won that round though, with Cooley now in 8th place, with Gerard Javal, and then Smolder, and then WMDR Martin having a much better race than last time out in the sprint race. Still 5 minutes to go. I feel like I haven't stopped talking for 40 minutes. Coming back up the hill, just this absolute, I'm trying not to say cluster of cars, but there's not really much else that we can describe it as. Mad Hayes meanwhile has checked out. Cooley now being the one holding up the rest of the pack, it seems. So McCoy has escaped with 5th place. Jack Game has escaped with 6th. Mad Hayes now with a bit of a gap back, and Smolder looking for the position again, almost outbraked himself and managed to make it into the apex. Is going to pull up alongside and past Gerard Javal. One of those pronunciations will be right. But Martin going up the outside of Vaporisho and Gerard, making the place up to 10th. Now sitting behind Smolder. Cooley getting thoroughly balked by one of the lapped cars. That will be Fatworm, struggling with the pace of his Clio again. Not able to get the setup working for him. Nice little lock up there from Cooley in front of Smolder there, with Martin breathing down their neck. All it takes is one mistake. 3 minutes to go. We are 3 minutes 15 seconds, and I daren't take a breath for what might happen. Smolder looking down the outside of the 145 car of Cooley, trying to play the trick that was played on him and not being able to make it work. That's going to open the door for Martin coming up the hill. Smolder's offline, going defensive, trolling the slide over the top of the hill. And now Smolder's on the back foot. That's how quick this changes. Smolder went from attacking to straight to defending. And now those few tenths that he has over Cooley in raw pace, he has to nail time and time and time again to get that gap back to where it was, to the point where he was able to overtake. There's 17 car sitting nice and wide, waiting for all these drivers to go past, not interacting with the battle at all, which is fantastic to see. Great behaviour all round. Here we go. Here we go on this roller coaster again. Massive sideways moment there for Mad Hayes. Cooley must be getting the slightest hint that his tyres are finally going off. And again, we start this whole drama all over again, and there's only a lap or so to go. Where is our leader at the moment? Just coming across the line now. This is going to be the last lap, as the 59 has really monstered this race, this racetrack. Oman has shown that he can overtake. He's shown that he's got the pace. He's shown that he can block. For goodness sake, really does seem to be the full package with these Clios. A front-wheel drivetrain obviously suiting the ACR driver. That's going to be it. As Turbo lonely in second position comparatively compared to the rest of the grid. Alan close enough behind, but not going to be making a move. Frubo in fourth, and then McCoy, Jack Game, and Cooley is the start of this now 3-car train, down from I think at its worst 6 or 7 cars. Beautiful driving all around, and I am looking forward to the next round now already. Race has been completed. Just gonna watch this battle through to the end because I did end up missing. Actually, where's Smolder gone? Smolder has thrown it off somewhere and has dropped all the way back down to 11th. That's the reason why you don't take your eyes off the battles. As Martin, 8th place at the moment. Oh, comes across the line, almost had it. Almost had that 7th position. Yeah, there we go. We're across the line. We can all wreck each other's cars now. Bumper cars it becomes. Now, we're going to have to wait this time. We really are going to have to wait for the penalties to come in, because look at the absolute state of that. As we watch the car park. No donuts tonight. Jack Game deciding he wanted to keep his Clio nice and clean. So, how was that for you? I have thoroughly enjoyed the past few hours of racing. Who was that suffering a significant amount of damage? That was Fatworm. Else having general performance issues. Right, Mr. Van Ommen will take both victories for tonight. As Turbo will come home in second. Alan third. Frubo fourth. Phil McCoy fifth. Sixth will be Jack Game. WMDR Martin seventh. Garage of Alan 8th. 9th will be Cooley. Aparicio 10th. Smolder 11th. Mad Hayes in 12th. 13th, Mr. Ferret. Thiago Pierra in 14th. Neela 15th. DH Gamer 16th. 17th, Mr. Zach. Yorkio 6-5 in 18th. 19th will be Ticklish Picklewickle. Kodiak in 20th. 21st will be Tomkel. Clifton 22nd. Tony Tacos in 23rd. 24th will be Psycho. And 25th, with all of that damage, will be Fatworm. A couple of disconnects we have had, unfortunately, tonight, just with performance issues. It looks like FPS issues. WMDR Martin has jumped back into the ready to interview box, so we are going to drag him and his very smooth voice back into the com box and say congratulations, I think?
Yeah, man, I'm really happy with that.
7th position.
Where did I start? Was I 20th at the start?
I don't think you were quite that far back, but you are. I'm pretty sure you're in the low teens. So yeah, no, absolutely. That's some progress, mate. That really is.
Yeah, I was just trying to hang on for dear life for like 3/4 of the race, and then the guys up front started battling more and more, and I could pick them off
Yeah.
one by one or two by two, because sometimes they just took each other.
Oh no 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 no! I spent most of the race watching that battle because for some reason that lower half of the top 10 just kind of it was a magnet for action. It was a weird mix of people who had the qualifying pace and people who had the race pace. Um, and other like a mixture of people who couldn't make it work.
And
Um,
it was painful to see too, because I was like probably 4 or 5 seconds behind that for most of the race, and I was never sure if I was gonna catch.
yeah, yeah, and then they got into battling and pushing each other off and pushing each other wide. And the amount of times that I said, "Well, that's another half-second loss. That's another half-second loss. That's another half-second loss," because they're just so desperate for the positions.
Yeah, they're our coordinator for this league said that it could have been a bit better today.
Yeah, yeah, there was a bit of there was a bit of argy-bargy that wasn't needed. But nonetheless, fantastic racing. I'm really glad that we've got these Clios out because the racing is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was better than I expected. I expected to be a dead potato at the back of the field, so I'm pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think having the fixed setup makes it better as well because of course everyone's going to have their tracks where the setup plays slightly nicer with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've got more people waiting to talk. So congratulations on your 7th place, significantly better than the last race, and you got home in one piece if I remember correctly as well.
Yeah, not one bit of damage.
Perfect,
I'm happy with that.
perfect. That's what we would like to hear. Brilliant. Hope to see you next time out. Have a lovely week, and I will speak to you next time.
See ya.
Next into the com box was Yorkie.
Oh,
Sorry,
hello.
mate.
That's all right. No worries.
Give us. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get to watch much of your racing. I'm really sorry.
Oh, really?
There was so much action up and down the field. It was impossible. As I said before we started, it was impossible to keep track of. Give us an overview of how your evening's been.
So, qualifying went reasonably well. I think it was fifth position that I qualified in. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
So I was fairly happy with that. Race one went really well. Had a pretty good start and jumped down tracks off the line straight away. So I was immediately up into fourth, and I was battling with As Turbo. One of the other guys, when coming into the final sector of the first lap, I had a massive, great big screen freeze,
Oh
and
no.
I went straight off the circuit. At
Oh,
that point, basically the screen completely locked up for like 3 to 4 seconds, so I had no idea what happened there. Managed to rejoin the track in third, which is the position that I went off the track in.
yep,
But I knew that I was alongside As Turbo at the time, and I saw that he had dropped down into fifth. So I waited for him on the start-finish straight to let him go through,
yep,
just in case he got caught in anything. And then from there, it was basically a four-way fight for the battle for third position. I was
yep.
at the tail end of that train for pretty much the entirety of the race and managed to pick up fourth in the end. So I was quite happy with that one. Second race didn't go quite as well. Start was all right. Managed to nick a couple of positions, and then at the end of the first lap, I picked up, I think it was like 3 damage on the front with a tap with
Oh,
someone, which
oh,
is
that's harsh.
not engine damage, sorry, aero damage, which is unfortunate. So I was at the end of it was either the first or second lap. I was right behind someone else, and Tony Clifton was kind of alongside, squeezed up against the grass on the left,
Yep,
and then basically once Tony Clifton had dropped back and cleared the car that was passing him, I think he wanted to come right and pick up the slipstream there, but I was
there.
like right, yeah, I was right there alongside on the rear bumper of the car in front, so he took both of us out and was smashed into the wall. So that
Oh,
gave me a load of damage.
into the inside pit wall.
Yep.
Yeah, I caught that
Yeah.
bit.
So yeah, I was involved in that, and then I was involved with another incident as well that put me up to 32 aero damage. There was a couple of cars battling in front, and one of them had a little bit of a spin. I tried to hang it tight on the exit, but I didn't quite hang it tight enough and clip the front of their car, which then spun me and put me into the wall again. So I ended up dropping back through down to 23rd, 24th after pitting to repair the damage. And I was just basically just pushing like crazy to try and regain whatever positions that I eventually could. There's basically Mr. Van Otten was my teammate, and he obviously got up into the lead, and then he was the last 3 or 4 laps. He was basically sat right on my rear bumper. And I was basically I was just praying that he wasn't going to lap me, so he'll give me one more lap to try and hunt the cars down in front.
Yeah.
And then I was catching someone, but on the last lap, I already had a 1 second time penalty at that stage, but I picked up another second. So I was 2 seconds, and the guy in front had 2 seconds as well. And I finished right on his rear bumper. So if I hadn't picked up that 1 second penalty, I would have finished 17th, I think it was.
Yeah, 17th.
In the end. So yeah, P4, P18.
A tale of 2 races.
Yeah, very much so. Going from highs to very much low.
Well, at least we've got 3 more rounds or 3 more evenings to equal it all out.
2 more for me. I'm going to be missing the last
shame.
one, unfortunately.
That's a shame, but at least we get to see you out next week.
Yeah, definitely. There's been hella fun tonight. That first race was awesome. I was grinning from ear to ear. It's very close and tight.
Do you know what? I wish you had been in the box with me tonight, because it would have been. You need eyes everywhere. You really do. Like there's exclamation marks up and down the grid. There's just, you can't keep your eyes on everything. You have to keep looking at split times and just see what's changing by hundredths and thousandths of a second. It's crazy, but yeah, no, it's fantastic to watch, and I really do envy being able to take part.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a lot of fun. But thank you very much for commentating. It's very much appreciated as well. I'll definitely be watching this back after everything's finished up.
Worried now. Grief. Right. No. Good luck. Have a lovely week, and see you out next week. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Cheers. Thanks very much, mate.
All right. Okay, who are we going to drag out next? Now, I think we should get our winner from both races, Mr. Van Otten.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing all the better for finally being able to speak to you. Good grief. So, first tell me, what's your secret?
Just a lot of risk or something? I don't know.
You're feeding your car like octane boosters or something, just to give it that bit extra edge.
I don't know. No, that'll remain a secret.
Oh.
No, I think it's all about the steering control. So you can't steer too sharp, because they lose a lot of speed in the corners.
Yep.
That's kind of it. Just making sure that you keep the momentum in the corners. That's what it is, I think.
So what you're saying is you're just really smooth. You're just so smooth.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely, and also not brake too late for corners, because that ruins your corner speed actually. So you really need to be on point with that and keep the car rolling. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, momentum is absolutely key, but it's taking it too far. No, absolutely. Congratulations, 2 victories and a pole lap.
Yeah.
You really are setting yourself up to be the man to beat, aren't you?
I hope so. But I do know that there's most probably it's going to be 1 race, 2 races actually, one day that I'm going to be missing. So I need the points now, and then hopefully it's going to be enough at the end of the 4 weeks. That's the plan. But missing 2 races is going to be heavy.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive challenge for you then. Good grief. Make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, exactly.
How was that second race for you? We won't worry about the first race because you led from start to finish. How was it coming up through the field?
Yeah, so I actually had a quick conversation with Yorkie. So we figured, the race is actually so much longer. So and my plan was to be really, really careful. I saw people going for some decent dives here and there, and one damage on the car is costing you a couple of tens a lap. So I
Yeah.
really didn't want to get any damage. So, but then at some point I realized that forming up and stuff like that actually takes off 10 minutes of the race. So at some point I was like, oh wait, I'm only in seventh or eighth, and yeah, okay, 20 minutes should be more than enough. But people start battling hard, and then it could be a problem.
Yeah.
And also, Astrubo and Frubo were coming up behind, so I knew I didn't want to let them get back into my slipstream. That's for sure. So at some point, I was balancing between being safe and pushing. Um, yeah, but yeah, obviously no damage. That's the key. You can't have any damage.
Absolutely. But an astounding display, an absolute masterclass in these Clios from both races, and I thoroughly look forward to seeing how you perform next week.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to next week as well. I'm not sure what the track is actually. Need to find that out. But
Yeah, when the site comes back up, I'll go and have a look because I've forgotten as well.
yeah,
okay. There you go. Right. Either way, whatever it is, no doubt we'll get a good show yet again.
Yes, will do. Thanks.
Brilliant. See you then.
All right.
Now we're going to go into okay, right. We will drag Ticklish Picklewickle, the man with the best name in AOR.
Good evening, sir. I'm glad
good,
to have that title.
Good evening to you. Let me just get your name highlighted. 19th in race 2. Tell us about your evening.
I gotta say, it was a mixed bag. Really, really mixed bag.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't usually like to say this, but the driving standards were questionable at best, and they really were. But
Yeah.
I like to think that that's because we had so many new drivers. So hopefully they will take what they've learned from this race into the next race, and hopefully we will see some better standards for next race.
Sakito Sprint Circuit is the next track.
Yeah.
With AOR being down, it's been difficult to get some of the information that I needed.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, no. I totally agree. There were a couple of instances where people were driving without their brains switched on. It seemed.
Yeah, I mean, what I definitely noticed as well was the rejoins.
Yeah.
Me and myself, I had two incidents, one in both races, and they were both involving some sort of bad rejoin. So. Yeah. I mean, people. It's I mean, I like being in AOR for so long. I've sort of grown to learn this. Like when you have so many new drivers, I mean, pretty sure over half the grid is new drivers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it obviously shouldn't be like this, but the reality is that they need to sort of get used to how we do things and how we drive. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, do you want them to be doing this in Clios, or do you want them to be doing it in GT3 cars?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and especially like these cars, they don't have as much error, obviously, so they can take like more of a beating.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can definitely get away with like 5 or 10 aero damage, and still be as fast as you were without any. So there is definitely room for contact and mistakes happening. So it's definitely a much better learning car than GT3 is. So that is definitely positive.
No, absolutely. And in that way, this will actually make a really good rookie league, development league for new drivers. Going forward, I've got no problem with looking after that for all of the newbies. Grief.
Yeah, and I mean like usually in these leagues in between the GG3 seasons, we do these slow low aero cars like the touring cars with the Ginetta GT5s, the juniors. So it's like we have a lot of new drivers joining in these leagues, and then joining in the GG3 league after. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, generally it's a much better result because they have the experience from the slower cars, and they can apply to the faster GT3 cars. So
yeah, of course. But we expect better from them next time out. Is what we're saying.
Yes, definitely. It is usually like this. I mean, I didn't really expect anything else, to be honest. I was hoping for better, but I didn't really expect it to be much better. But yeah, it's usually for these for this first round especially. There will be a lot of things happening, but it usually tends to calm down as we go through the season because people learn from their mistakes. So
Yeah, of course.
hopefully it will be significantly better next time out.
Yeah, but hopefully the action won't get any less intense.
No, definitely not. I mean, like, I think, I mean, it was like, I think, just in the qualifying, I can actually take a look here because I think that like the guys closest to me, like in the qualifying, we were like, I mean, I think it was like 3/10 apart, like 6 or 7 people or something. It was absolutely insane.
Yep. No, absolutely.
So you know, like, it's like it's so close. That's also what I love about these. It's not only you know it serves as a sort of a learning league for the new drivers, but it's also a great change of pace from the GT3 cars because first of all you don't have to worry about a setup. So usually you can get away with like 5 to 10 laps on each track, and then you're usually pretty good for pace.
Yeah.
So um, it's great, and yeah, the racing is so close. I mean, you don't even feel that you drive a 40-minute race because the race it generally just feels like 20 minutes. So,
yeah.
because there's so much action, time just flies by. So
yeah,
it's great. I love it.
The first 20 minutes of the let's call it the endurance race was it went by with the snap of her fingers. The race started and it was 20 minutes. I'm sure. But
yeah, and like I in race 2, I had this accident and I dropped back because I had to pit. But then I mean like a whole race, I was just fighting my way back to the position where I was. So
yeah,
it was just a constant battle of pushing the car like and trying to catch up to the other guys. So I mean I was definitely kept entertained. It was not like I was lonely at any point. I didn't feel lonely at any point in the race. So
no. And having what do you think of having a field this big? Is it does it help with that feeling, or did the track feel cluttered at all?
I mean it sort of felt a little bit cluttered because I mean the track isn't really
It's not
that
big.
big. It's
Yeah.
a 1 minute 20 second lap
Yeah.
in these cars, so it's not
Yes.
really a big one. But I didn't really feel like the traffic in qualifying. It wasn't really that bad. I mean that might have just been from my perspective
Yeah.
that I didn't really run into some traffic, but I definitely felt like it wasn't as bad as I had expected. So
No. Everyone did seem to behave themselves quite well. Good.
yeah,
But hey, either way, next time out, we'll see if the messy rejoiners would get better. And well, it'll be great to see you back out again.
yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, much better racing next.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll leave at that. But thank you very much for dropping in, and I'll speak to you next week, if not before.
Of course.
Our last interviewee, who has played a fairly key role throughout the goings on throughout the evening, is Colonel McCoy. Is that?
Yes, a
There
very
we
good
go.
evening. I thought we never talked to each other, so I said, let's put myself in ready for interview.
Hey, I'm glad you've dropped in because you have absolutely been a key part of the action tonight. I think in the later stages of, I'm pretty sure in the latter stages of race 2, you were the spark that triggered the entire cascade of place changes between like 12th and 4th.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I ended at 5. So, but yeah, I was at somewhere. I was just talking with Martin about it. I was 10.
Yeah.
I made a big mistake in the first few laps, and then in the end, it finally worked out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about your evening as a whole. How was the Clio Cup for you?
Well, for me, the car itself is a little bit too much of throwing around, so it's not my favorite kind of car. And it started off with qualifying in loose setup, and then I was talking to Hendrix, and he said something about everybody's probably running the stable setup, so I ran for the stable setup for the race.
Yeah,
And first race was actually pretty well. Of course, the opening lap was really, a lot of people
messy.
in turn 3. I think I had to step on the brake and avoided everything in the end.
Yep.
But it was really messy, yeah.
Yeah,
But for the rest, yeah, it was nice to see some new guys. A little bit of contact racing, which to be honest, these cars are made for it.
Yep.
Because I didn't have damage in first and second race.
Oh wow,
So,
really?
yeah, like just a little bit of side by side contact or something, but that's all. So I have to be honest, really happy, yeah. And
Brilliant.
second race, yeah, just unhappy with the mistake I made in I think lap 2, which made me drop to P10 because I started I think 4th.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end went up to 5 again, and I got nudged by Van Olmen, and I think it's Fruba, Frubus.
Frubo,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, a little bit push to pass. I told them already, but I don't mind. They're fast anyway, so they would
Yeah.
have passed anyway in the
They
end.
would, yeah, they would have got past at some point. They just pushed the issue a little bit too hard. The thing is as well is, as you said, the cars are made for it. So it's like having a go at someone for using a hammer like a hammer.
Exactly. Yeah, and to be honest, I don't really mind that as long as it's just small touches, like
Yeah.
not really outbreaking yourself. And Van Olmen, he actually apologized because he knew what happened. He stepped on the brakes a little bit harder. That was the reason for locking up and veered into me.
Ah,
In the
okay.
end, nothing, no big damage or no spins or anything. So, and I'm okay with it. So yeah, I was just wondering if you were at the battle a little bit, if
Oh
you
yeah,
had
yeah,
me in
yeah.
the view or not, so I know to look back at the video or not.
Yep. No. I was glued to for both races. The lower half of the top 10 was absolutely the place to be.
Okay.
And I was speechless at times because there was so much going on. You couldn't commentate all of it. It's just like, no,
So
just leave it alone, or watch what's going on, and let everyone else sort it out. It was breathtaking racing. It really was.
okay, but that's the perfect commentary then, because I always hate it when you see what's going on anyway, and then they commentate the same thing.
Yeah,
So
I
it's also for
try.
the viewers nice.
Yeah, I try to bring something that you might not be able to tell from immediate viewing.
Yeah.
Because I've been there. I've raced the Clios. I've raced the Janettas. I've done GT3 racing. I've done all of it. I know how the cars handle. I know what they do. I know what they do like to do and what they don't like to do. So if there's the tiniest little hint of oversteer, I know how much you're having to fight that car to keep it in a straight line.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's really important. That's really nice. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to have a look at the video.
I'm looking forward to next week. We're going to be at Suzuka or Sakito,
Oh, nice.
but it's the short circuit. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one. Again, it's gonna be a very very busy track. You're gonna have to pick your spots and pick your lines and stick to them like super glue, I think.
yeah. I just hope that everybody has a little bit of an awareness of what's going around them, because that's, I think, most of the problem started off. Okay,
Mhm.
first lap incidents out of the question, but sometimes people squeezing a bit, and yeah, as you said, these cars when you hit the grass and get a little bit oversteer, it's hard work.
It really is. It really is. I can't remember who it was. Someone went wide at the exit of the chicane onto the back straight. And it's just like I wish I had all of the sympathy for them, because like you knew what was coming, you knew where the car was going to end up, and there was nothing you could do about it.
When nose dive in the wall to the right, or
No, No, that was someone else, and that was just a massive kick of oversteer and the rear tires gripped on the curb. That's what that was, but I felt for them as well, to be fair. But when these Clios go, they really.
Yeah, they do. But it's nice to just floor it and hope that the front wheels grip and get you
Yes.
out of.
Yes.
Alrighty.
No, absolutely.
Thank you very much for commentating then.
No, thank you very much for taking part and being an absolutely key part of the race. That was really, really good to watch, and I hope you stick around and take part in some more of the championships, because you're a good driver, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
I'll say that much.
I've been around for a while, but I missed a few seasons last time. And
right.
to be honest, I finally got into endurance racing a bit, and it's just unfortunate P-Cars 2 doesn't allow you to swap drivers with other people in the.
Oh yeah, no. Competizione has been a bit of a revelation as far as that's concerned. There are a few things in Competizione that I am missing from Project Cars, but the Project Cars experience is something that can't really put anywhere else. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no. I'm keeping these races. Hosting monthly ones. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. There you go. Anyway, right. I need to go and close up the stream now, otherwise we will end up talking all night. No, thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night. Huh?
Yeah, you too. And speak to you next week, hopefully.
Cheers. Yeah, see ya. Cheers.
Oh, and with that, absolutely fantastic race. 2 absolutely brilliant races tonight. I am grinning from ear to ear, just in case you can't hear. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to all of our drivers. I think it was 28 in total. Ended up making it to the grid for the sprint race. A few had to have disconnects because of technical issues, but absolutely brilliant driving all round. Fantastic coordination as well from TPW to get everything under control. And we have another 3 evenings of this, of sprint and endurance format, to look forward to over the next coming weeks. So, if you've enjoyed what you've seen tonight, and if you didn't enjoy what you saw tonight, I'm sorry, I can't help you. This has been breathtaking racing up and down the grid, from start to finish. These Clios have absolutely proven their weight. Worth their weight in gold. And hopefully I will see you next time. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like. If you enjoy what we're doing here, Apex Online Racing, feel free to hit the subscribe button. If you want to get involved, and please do get involved, get over to the Apex Online Racing forums. Link will be in the description below. And get signed up. Get signed up to a league. We cover all of the racing sims and arcade races as well on the main platforms, PS4, Xbox and PC. And I hope to be speaking to you in the Combox one day soon, after you've won your very first Apex Online race. In the meantime, my name has been Ike Sky. It's been an absolute unmitigated pleasure commentating with you tonight, and I will see you all next week. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll see you then.